What's up, you guys? Chase here to talk about a brand new Carhartt Venture release, the 2022 Home on High. Many of you have not tasted this. As a lot of you know, the Venture label is all about experimentation and kind of pushing the envelope, trying new things, both for myself and then also being able to craft new and exciting wines for you guys to try that kind of push the envelope on what you're used to. And this is an absolutely perfect example. The 2022 Home on High is my very first multi-fruit wine. So you heard that right, multi-fruit. Obviously that means more than one different fruit, and in this case it is apples and grapes, or grapes and apples I guess in terms of the percentage. It's 60% Grenache Rosé and 40% apple juice. And it's also a co-fermentation, so I'll go into, there's our resident hawk there. I'll go into a little bit of detail about that. So basically what happened is in 2022 I got the opportunity to work with some apples from this orchard basically like a couple miles away from us here in the San Ynez Valley. It's a buddy's apple orchard, super nice, organically farmed, and got the opportunity to work with some of his apples. And during the 2022 vintage, we harvested those apples and milled them. So basically squeezed them, extracted the juice, made apple juice. So it's sweet, obviously, at that point. Brought that juice into the winery and it started fermenting naturally. So native yeast, meaning we didn't inoculate it at all. We didn't put any yeast into it. It just, the yeast that was either on the apples themselves or in the air just started to ferment that apple juice. Well, coincidentally at the same time, during that vintage, we had also brought in some Grenache Rosé from our vineyard, and some fruit that was Grenache for rosé production. And I had pressed that like a day or so later after that apple juice had started fermenting, and we pumped what ended up being about 60% worth of Grenache Rosé juice into that apple juice that was already fermenting. And then the two co-fermented together, so they fermented together in the same vat. It's basically a 60-40 split. And at the tail end of that fermentation, we bottled it in this champagne glass and also put it under this crown cap, right? Kind of like a beer cap. And so that's called the Pet-Nat method, Pétillant Naturel. And so what happens is as this liquid continues to ferment, the last little stage of alcoholic fermentation under this crown cap, the CO2 that's naturally produced from alcoholic fermentation gets trapped because it's closed at the top. And it actually pushes that CO2 back into solution. And so that's when you open Pet-Nats, how they become sparkling basically, is that CO2 coming out of solution in the form of bubbles or effervescence or whatever you want to call it. So that's what this is. This is my first multi-fruit co-fermentation of apples and grapes. And it's absolutely delicious. I'm super happy with it. We let it age in the bottle for over a year. So let's pop this sucker open and see how it tastes. Easier to do when it's on a table. Beautiful little bubbles just coming to the surface there. And also this wine is not fined or filtered in any way, and it's not disgorged, so it is a little bit hazy. But check out this. Just absolutely beautiful kind of peachy sunshine color in the glass. Just perfect for summer. This video almost doesn't capture it, but look at that. Absolutely super pretty. Now, when you pop this bottle, the first thing that you're gonna notice is the kind of cider characteristics come out. So you kind of get that like tart apple, little bit, tiny bit of like this sort of yeast quality. Yeast autolysis, so like dead yeast cells, which is a good thing. That's kind of, to me, a mark of sparkling wine in general. And then as it sits in the glass for a little bit, all of these beautiful fruit flavors come forward that is, to me, really a blend of the apple and the grape in terms of its style, because from rosé, I don't generally get a lot of peach from our rosé. It's just not, we don't harvest it that ripe. I normally get more red fruit. And so in this combination of apple and grape, we're getting all these beautiful like peach qualities, white peach, peach rings. You're getting a lot of, again, apple notes, maybe a little bit more of kind of a yellow apple. And it is just, and super floral, like beautiful white flowers. Absolutely delicious on the palate. This is a completely dry wine. It is not sweet, but there's this kind of nice roundness or creaminess in the mouthfeel with beautiful natural acidity that you're getting from both the apples and the grape. So there is like the chemistry on this ended up being perfect, ended up being about 10% alcohol, which is, as you guys know, about 4% on average lower than traditional wine. So it just makes it super crushable for summertime. It's delicious. There's a little bit of the citrus, this kind of morphs from that peach into this more tangerine, almost tangerine skin, tangerine peel in the mouth and the flavor profile. And it's just absolutely gorgeous. Like it's a crusher in summertime. It's something you could bring obviously to a backyard barbecue or drink by the pool, whatever you fancy. I will say that I think the reason that I create these wines and one of the reasons I'm so proud of this is just that for most of you, a multi-fruit wine is not something that you've had before, right? We think of this term wine as it applies to grapes, but wine is really can be applied to many different fermented fruits, right? You have muscadine wine, you have cherry wine, you have grape wine, and you have apple wine, which we call cider. To me, they all fall under this umbrella. So this is, for most of you, your first multi-fruit wine. I think it's an absolutely epic, super delicious, approachable, easy example to drink. Very fun. And it's a perfect thing to bring to a friend's house or open up with some friends or some family if you guys want to try something different, whether you're celebrating or not. It's new, it's adventurous, and a perfect example of something that we love to do under the Venture label. So I hope you guys enjoy this. Super delicious, fun. I'm really proud of it. Cheers.